well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for doing this. If it's cool with you, we'll just go ahead and get right into some questions. As we've been doing all day and all day yesterday, we'll go for about 10 minutes or so. Do our best to get it to as many as possible. And let's go ahead and start with Sydney, please.
Hi, Caitlin. You previously said that there was no disappointment when you weren't selected for the 2024 Paris Olympics because it gave you something to work toward. Reflecting back on the past year and a half, um, and making your first senior camp, what does this moment mean for you, and why is this the right time for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you can do a USA basketball related camp, or obviously in my past, it's been all junior national teams. And, I've been cut from some of those and I've played for three of them. So I think I've experienced both sides of it. And, you know, this is the biggest honor you can possibly have in playing basketball in our country is wearing USA across your chest. So, I'm just excited to be here and honored. Obviously, it's kind of like the start to the new Olympic cycle and, quite a few different things before we get to that point, but just excited to be here and be surrounded by a lot of really great players, some that, haven't played in Olympics before, and then others that have a medal or multiple medals. So I think it's been a fun group to be around.
Thank you.
We'll go Doug and then Tia.
Hey, Caitlin, I know you told us today that after practice you were a little bit nervous going in just because you hadn't played in a while. Was there a moment you tried to get over that, said, all right, I'm good, I'm back to where I was before I got hurt? And I think you hit that one step back three that sort of bring sort of some comfort in some ways, the sort of part we saw.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like when I touched the basketball to start warming up before the practice even started, that's probably when I felt pretty comfortable. But I mean, I've worked so hard. Like, I haven't taken a break since, you know, honestly, since the beginning of the WNBA season with just all my rehab and getting back to where I wanted to be and then getting even better. So that's been kind of my focus. And, this has kind of been my next thing that I've been working for since our season ended. And just really thankful for, the training staff and player development and everybody that has kind of been there with me. They haven't taken a break either because they invest a lot of time and they want me to be successful. So I think for myself, like it's not proving it to yourself again, but it's just that feeling. And I think it just made me smile quite a bit. Like I really did kind of feel like myself out there and just continuing to get my lungs back. But I felt like I was moving really well. So it was pretty satisfying.
Thanks.
All right, Tia.
Hi, Caitlin. Obviously, this camp has a lot of younger players. What can you say just about all of you being able to come together and kind of signify this start of this new Olympic cycle with all of you being together and being so familiar with each other?
Yeah, and I think a lot of us have familiarity, whether we were playing on junior national teams together or whether we played versus each other in college or, obviously playing now versus each other in WNBA, or some of us obviously are teammates as well. So, we know each other pretty well. I think it obviously speaks to the way USA basketball does such a great job at the junior national team levels of really getting you kind of involved in the program and understanding what USA basketball is about. You understand how big of an honor it is to be able to do this. And if you're lucky enough to do it, just once, that's incredibly cool to represent your country. So I think for us, like being able to have that and then come into this national team camp together, it just is a thing of comfort, but also like we're all very competitive and you want to be surrounded by the best at the same time. And I think that's kind of the feeling all around for all of us.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Hey Caitlin, it's Kyle Houston with Hawkeye Report. Good to talk to you. It's been a while. Wanted to ask you about the last 6 months. I mean, you basically I think you had a stretch of like 7 years, whether it's Iowa or Dowling, where you just didn't miss a game. You never were out for one game with an ankle tweak or anything. Just having that stretch of being off the court and not playing games. Did you learn anything about yourself, and did you learn anything about the game just being on the sideline rather than playing?
Yeah, I think for sure. And I put together a pretty incredible stretch of never missing a game. And, the fact is, when you're a professional athlete, it's going to come at some point. That's just how it goes. I think it's honestly taught me more than I've probably ever learned through the course of my career of, how to take care of your body, how to get right, how to stay healthy, and then just taking time for yourself. Like, obviously, being hurt is an incredibly isolating thing, and you don't really understand it until you go through it. And then I think the challenge for myself was just, it was one injury and then it was like a little better, and then it kind of continued to compound and get worse, and other things pop up, and then I had the ankle injury. So it feels nice to finally be back to 100%. And in a way, at the end of the WNBA season, like obviously I did everything I could to try to be able to come back and be able to play for my team, but just it just didn't really work. I think that was almost a way of relief for myself, just knowing that I gave everything I could to possibly try to play, but my body just wasn't really letting me. And then I continued to rehab, and now feeling back at 100%, it honestly took probably longer than I expected, but knowing my body's in a really good spot. And I think more than anything, it just teaches you how to be a really great teammate and a really good leader, and understanding what your teammates go through. Like obviously I'm going to have teammates that have been through injuries and are going to continue to go through injuries, and always leaning on them and being there for them. And if I have a teammate hurt going forward, like I'm always going to be the one that texts them and checks on them. And then just pouring into your teammates. You can do that whether you play or you don't play, and that was kind of my main focus. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, Ben.
Thanks, Renee. Obviously there's been a lot of change on the national team landscape with this being a younger roster, but over the last couple of months, there's also been broader changes in the professional women's basketball landscape as well. Have you been approached by the Project B League at all? And do you have plans to take part in it? And if not, what do you think of it more broadly?
Yeah, I mean, I plan to play in the WNBA. Obviously, that's another thing that we need to get done. So we have so we have a season coming up here. But I think more than anything, it showcases what people think of women's basketball. All of these different opportunities, all these different leagues, the platform that they want to give women's basketball, where they think women's basketball is going to continue to grow. I think that's probably the thing that pops into my mind, is just that of like people are really believing and putting their money where their mouth is, and that hasn't always been the case for women's basketball, no matter how great it's been over the course of the last 25, 30 years. And so I think for myself, like that's probably what I'm most proud of, is just how excited and people are to really invest and want to support women's basketball more than anything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Shelby.
Hey, sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Caitlin, thanks so much for taking the time. Sorry, it's a little noisy behind me, but I'm curious just if you could share just again, only first day, but what your experience has been like so far working with Coach Cara. What stands out about her as opposed to maybe other coaches that you've had in the past?
Yeah, I think Coach Cara is, obviously she knows just as good as anybody else what USA basketball is all about. Winning a gold medal. And then additionally, like she's been a part of a lot of different Olympic teams, whether it's 3-on-3 stuff, whether it's obviously an assistant coach at the last gold medal. But I think it's just the energy she brings. And I think that impacts every single person in the gym. And I think that's a really powerful thing as a coach. So I think that was, this is really my first time around Coach Cara as well. Like I don't have a prior relationship with her, so obviously it's been good to get to know her over the course of this first few days. But I think for myself, it's just the energy and the competitive spirit that she brings as a coach. I think that's really impacts players and what they want to bring on the court as well.
Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Caitlin, good to see you as always. First, want to ask you about your long-time bond with your fellow number 22, Cam Brink. You two were having good laughs with each other in camp. Let's talk about rejoining and teaming up with Cam again. And do you feel with your golfing prowess that you showed that you are the best golfer on the WNBA?
Well, first of all, obviously it's great to see Cam. Last time I played USA basketball, I'm pretty sure she was on the team, or maybe that was 2 times ago, but she was actually my roommate one of the times that I played USA basketball. So I've known her for quite some time now. And then obviously throughout college, continued to build our relationship, and then even now professionally. So it's always good to see people that you've known for, 5+ years and even longer now. I mean, it was the U16 team was the first team I ever played on, and I think I was 15. So it's been almost 9 years now, which is pretty incredible, the course of this journey. And then golfing wise, I'm not really quite sure like who's all big into golfing in the WNBA. So I don't know. Maybe I'd love to get out there and play with some different players, but I put the golf clubs away now. Like I'm truly focused on basketball. It makes my body a little bit sore. So I'd rather just stick to basketball, but I love it. And it's always great to be outside. And obviously the weather is not too hot in Indianapolis or Iowa at the moment for me to be golfing at all. So that helps too.
Thanks.
All right. Well, we're at our 10 minutes, so we'll let you go.